The perfect road for me would just not end, and it would keep going forever. And I would be able to skate any kind of turn I want.
Going fast is the same way. Passing people and drafting and knowing that you're going really, really, really fast is really, really fun.
It's a pure feeling, and it's hard to explain, but it's pretty surreal.
Skateboarders are all misfits. We're all a bunch of misfits, that's for sure.
My name's Jimmy Raya.
My name's Max Caps.
My name is Tim Del Rosario.
My name is Max Ballesteros.
Hi, my name's AJ Habe, and I've been riding skateboards for about 7 years.
6 years.
For 8 years.
And I've been skateboarding for 6 years.
Around 8 or 9 years now.
All the spots around here are deep canyons, and you can ride for miles anywhere from 40 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour through all sorts of different kinds of turns and terrain. So a lot about the scenery and seeing different things.
Today we got to go to the backyard of San Diego and hang out in some of our mountain hills, hang out underneath the oak trees and out in nature. It's pretty cool. Got AJ Habe and Max Caps, some of my local buddies, out and rallied the hills that we normally find ourselves rallying on the weekends. Ran into Rat Solt, a legendary downhill skateboarder from back in the X Games days in the IDF. That was really cool. Always good to reminisce of the past and check out what some old school guys have to say about what we're doing these days.
We were down at the bottom of the hill, and we happened to run into Rat Salt, who used to compete in the X Games about 10, 15 years ago. It's pretty epic.
Hey, I'm Rat Solt at the bottom of the hill today. We had a great time watching these guys charge the hill. I've won the X Games, done a bunch of stuff, but downhill skateboarding has really involved in even more of a hardcore sport, the way these guys are drifting it, and just awesome to see it. Great to see these guys. I'm gonna go up and watch some more action right now. Skateboarding's all about pushing it to the limits, getting nuts. What's up? Yeah, it was like you were full drift. He just came inside. He just came in a little too hot, and he clipped right here. And
I did an apex pre-drift, and I was too inside. And I just kept drifting further in.
exactly what I said, right? That's...
Out here, you're pretty much fucking ending up out there.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone.
Blew it, and I'm really proud of myself. Being injured sucks. It's very, very frustrating. Sitting inside the house and waiting to get better is the worst thing, especially when you see all your buddies going out, skating your favorite road, and you're just like, I wish I could be there. But when you blow it, that's the price to pay. And I messed up, so this is what happens. Can't take it back.
I started longboarding because a couple of my friends had longboards, and then I got to ride one day, and after that I was just hooked. I bought a skateboard the next week, and I was riding downhill in the next 2 months.
The best feeling when I'm longboarding is, this sounds kind of cheesy, but it's pretty true. It's like the freedom. I just like standing there like on my board, just thinking of nothing else besides my board, the road, and my surroundings. So I'm just totally focused, and it's kind of like a way to express ourselves, going down the hill and having fun with our friends, going side by side, drifting, taking corners, and just going as fast as we can in a safe way.
There's no difference between a skateboard and a longboard. It's the same thing. It's just a different size. I mean, I can ollie my longboard, skateboard, skateboard. It's just a really long skateboard, but it's still a skateboard. And a lot of people like to draw the line between them and say that this one is this and this one is that, and that's true, but it's still a skateboard. We all can skate, we all drop in. Maybe not like Sandal Bros, but I can drop in. I'm a longboard kook, I'm a skateboard kook, I'm a skateboarder. So yeah, it's all the same thing.
It's all skateboarding, and it's all relative to having a skateboard, piece of wood, trucks, wheels, bearings, and again, hardware to keep it all together. And whether it be doing some slappies, hitting a curb, or ollieing over a gap, to bombing down a mountain road, or just your local road down to your burrito shop. It's keep it relative, kind of be able to skate everything is the key out there, not just do one thing.
Hi, welcome to Sector 9 Skateboard, San Diego, California. My name is E.G. Fratentaro. I am the marketing director and one of the founders of this great company. The longboard has been around since the 60s. Surfers invented longboarding when they took roller skates and put them on a 2x4 and skated down the hill. We saw that there was nothing in the market that was about like carving and cruising and bringing like the surf culture and the snowboard roots back into skateboarding. So we started right here in La Jolla, California, and we basically started making pintails. The 4-foot Baltic birch pintail that you see today is still in our line. We started making that for ourselves, and we started making them for our friends, and they liked them, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And then we looked around and we thought, no one else is doing something like this. We might as well take a gamble and take a couple risks and try and start a skateboard company. So when we started in the backyard, and like I was telling you guys, that we started this with just making boards for ourselves because we were having a good time with it. Actually, the first Sector 9 was actually a snowboard with trucks and wheels on it, and that got stolen. So we shaped this pintail that you see right here today. This is probably in the first 20 boards ever made. And as you can see, we were just learning. We just grabbed some old like plywood right here. We didn't know what thickness or anything. You got hand-drawn graphics with pens and pencils and pot leaf stencils, and this board's probably 1993, and there's probably only about like 6 or 8 of these kind of style ones left. Today you're gonna see the practiced, well-rehearsed art of making a skateboard. It's something we learned and self-taught ourselves in the backyard, and we're proud to see it 20 years later and see our manufacturing. So we're gonna take those veneers and we're gonna see it go through the many steps of how to make a skateboard. Sector 9 skateboards are made of 7 plies of rock-hard Canadian maple that is harvested from regrowth forests that have been going on for 50 years. The first stop is going to be the clear coating and sanding of the veneers. You're going to clear coat each veneer, then lightly sand it. It's going to move over to the pressing area where we press 28 plies, that's 4 boards. going to sit in the press for 1 hour, and then it's going to dry for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. After it's dried and nicely cured, say 3 weeks, depending on weather, we're going to start cutting into that board. We have a CNC machine that is going to allow us to cut drop-throughs and stuff that you really couldn't do by hand. We also have a drill press that drills 8 from the top, 8 from the bottom. There we draw the outline of the board, which is the perfect shape, and drill the holes so your holes are right every time. We're going to pass that on to the bandsaw. The bandsaw is going to cut almost a perfect shape, but it can't cut a perfect shape, so you see the board move into the shaper. You're going to see 2 boards cut at once. The shaper's going to basically run the boards along a bearing and come out with a perfect shape every time. We're going to pass that off to the hand routers. These guys are going to hand route each rail and bevel the rail. The soft sanders is one of the final steps in making the board and making it perfect. They're going to sand the top, sand the rails, make sure the board is absolutely perfect. From there, it goes into the clear coating booth. In the clear coating booth, we will spray the boards, the front and back and rails to protect the board. All the boards are heat transferred these days. You're going to grab a transfer off the wall and transfer that thing right between the 2 wheels onto the board. It's going to be pressed with heat and compression, I should say, and transfer that graphic right in the board. We sell 80% completes, so we want to set it up the way we feel it should be ridden. So before it gets into the trucks and wheels, we're going to put grip tape on it. We're going to lay that grip tape down. We're going to cut it out. We head over, we pack each bearing and each wheel. We tighten down the wheels onto the trucks and then back it off so the wheel spins freely. We're going to send that board over to the assembly area where they're going to grab trucks and wheels. Each one has been matched, color matched and matched each board for riding preference. We're going to put the trucks, and with the wheels already on it, on top of the board, we're going to screw it down, boom. We're going to put that board in a box, put some paper around it, protect it, tape it up, ship it around the world.
Yeah, a lot of the hills around here are the ones that I grew up skating and learned a lot from and continue to keep on skating and having fun on. So it's pretty rad to be able to show you guys that. When I was about 15, I surfed a bunch, continued to surf, and eventually found myself with 2 perforated eardrums, meaning water was allowed to flow into my middle ear and out. Wasn't too happy about that. Found myself needing something else to go do besides surf because, well, doctor said you can't surf anymore. My parents didn't really like the sport that I chose after surfing. You know, oh cool, you're gonna go throw yourself down a hill, but they grew on it. Now they support me a little bit more. Unlike yesterday, we did something a bit different. We went out and did one of my kind of favorite things is just going out and skating down a hill and being able to do a couple slides in certain places and free riding and being able to kind of express yourself that way. Hung out in a couple neighborhoods and got to slash around, hit some driveways, some other features, kill some wheels for sure, put some damage into those.
longboarding scene here is it's big. There's a lot of companies and events, so that gets a lot of people stoked. So there's a lot of things happening, and it's way better. Like in Brazil, the scene is kind of like just starting to grow. So here it's completely different. You can like go to a bunch of spots and see red skaters ripping always, and there's a bunch of top riders here, which is pretty cool. So I can like skate fast and train wherever I go out on hills.
Growing up, me and my buddies were into all sorts of things. We were mountain biking, BMXing, scooters, even like these little toy car things. And eventually we stumbled on to like mini cruisers. And that was like the very beginning of my skating for sure. We cruised around for like 2 months, and then that next Christmas I got Sector 9 Carbon Tri-Lam. And I like rode so many hills on that board. And then I found like this one website, and it was on from there for sure.
Growing up with longboarding was probably one of the best experiences of my life. Learning a lot of different things, meeting a lot of different people, getting a lot of different influences from everywhere, and definitely the skateboarding itself was like absolutely awesome. Hanging out with friends, just the whole adventure itself. It taught me a lot about like what I feel like I've taken into like my normal life. I guess like a simple philosophy, you know, to keep going and just enjoy it and just be happy with what you have.
Hanging out in Big Red Truck. Yeah. See Big Red Truck. Big Red Truck. Big Red Truck. Yeah, if we come up there, we're like sitting ducks and instantly get a ticket if the guy even sees us in leathers. We're all trying to listen. I know.
I heard something. Me too. I gotta take a piss.
So sometimes when you try and film skateboarding, you end up getting the cops called on you. It happens a lot. we're dealing with some of the problem right now.
Yeah, Officer Mark McCullough, San Diego Police Department. I've been with this department for over 28 years. Skaters are punks, longboarders are surfers. It's kind of more of what we see here in Southern California. If you're on a longboard, you're just sidewalk surfing. You're cruising. You're just kind of going with the flow. If you're on a shortboard and you're ripping it up, then you're probably classified or thrown into that general group as being a punk. We don't generally deal with it in law enforcement the same way. We know the attitudes are out there. We know that there are cops that have bad attitudes towards certain groups or classifications. We try to control those people, but we also know that there are groups within those groups, skateboarders, who antagonize and create that image of being a punk. But we also know there's plenty of them out there that don't. They're out there to have fun. They're enjoying themselves. As long as they're not hurting anybody else or property, we don't have a problem with them.
Talk to us, because we're kind of in handcuffs. Let us know what's going on.
She's talking to them. She's talking to them.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we've been having a hard time this last 2 days. We've been trying to film in our local hills here, and the cops are always showing up and saying we gotta stop skating, we can't skate down, and asking us to leave. So that's kind of a bummer, because we're trying to do something like cool here. We're like professionals and we're not doing anything very risky. We're trying to be as safe as possible, and we have total controls of what we're doing. So that sometimes is a bit frustrating, but it's the law, and sometimes it's hard to like accept it, but it's just how it is.
There's no real per se illegal activity that we target with skateboarding or longboarding here in California or San Diego. We have some specific areas that it's prohibited, and then of course we follow the California Vehicle Code, which only really states you can't be on a skateboard or a longboard if you're under 18 without a helmet. Other than that, we're okay with skateboarding and longboarding throughout the community. Where does the skateboarder or longboarder go to get better on the downhill? You can do whatever you like on private property. If you have a big old hill, big driveway, knock yourself out. You can go down it as much as you want. But on city streets, you cannot close a city roadway or utilize city property unless you've got a permit. Now, you can get a permit to close a roadway, to do competitions, to do community events. Bike groups do it, car seat groups do it, walks do it, and runs do it. Skateboarders can too. They just have to get organized. They need to get together, decide, here's what we want, here's when we want it, go through the proper channels, get a permit. They'll get police officers there closing the road, and they'll be able to do it within the time frame. They just can't do it willy-nilly on the side and when there's other people out that might get hurt. Go!
Oh yeah, he has to walk up.
Oh shit. Yep, we're getting rolled again. Sheriff's here. We're, yeah, this is what happens when we try and do this stuff.
What's up, fellas? Are you guys done? Alright. Alright?
Yeah, we're cutting the documentary short, guys. We're getting rolled everywhere with this operation that's going on.
Holy fuck, dude.
Skateboarding is illegal. Pretty much it. And trying to prove otherwise is tough. Unless you can show them in a way that is legal, but that's not always the easiest thing to do. So you try to have as many events as possible and show the public that we can actually do what we do safely, instead of what they think, which is all over the road and being reckless. And I mean, we don't want to die. We want to be safe and make it down as safely as possible with as much fun as possible. So.
Yeah, so it was on my second wedding anniversary. It was kind of an everyday thing that I would take my dog on a skateboard ride. He was like a 1.5-year-old, real rambunctious puppy. And we would just, I would, encourage him to go as fast as possible. I mean, I've been skating pretty much my whole life and surfing my whole life. And, so skating is something that came, second nature to me. So left the house, first kind of interesting, I left the house on my bike, no helmet, and decided to skate instead. So I went back and grabbed my skateboard, and probably, from what I understand or where they found me, I was about 2 blocks from my house. I remember that, last thing I remember, I was on the sidewalk, and that was it. I had fallen, and the leash was wrapped around my right hand, so I kind of led with my head and hit the frontal lobe, or damaged the frontal lobes of my brain. The right frontal lobe. Was in a coma for 19 days on and off. Had a craniectomy and a tracheotomy. Severe swelling in the brain was pretty much the main thing. It was a closed head injury. I mean, I see people doing, the sport, whether it's longboarding or skateboarding or whatever it is, they've gotten so crazy. I mean, where, kids are starting younger and they're doing bigger things and faster things. And it takes one mistake. You could be the best ever. And that's a scary thing. And I was not even close to being, great or good. But you could be the best ever. You could hit a rock or whatever it is. I mean, it doesn't matter. And that's it. Be smart, wear a helmet. If you're gonna have your dog pull you at the fastest he can go with you, play whipping him with the leash to go faster, to pull you, I mean, wear a helmet. Be smart, because otherwise you're stuck in an ICU and your wife's having to see you writhe in pain, get your skull cut off, swell to just like enormous proportions, get ice baths because you have pneumonia, get a tracheotomy, have to see the tracheotomy tube come out, have them clean your lungs. I mean, obviously leaving the house before that, if I could do it all over again, I would put a helmet on. Be a little wise. I'm not indestructible, and no one is. So that's what I would change.
Wearing a helmet is super important. Having protective gear is essential. It's the number one thing. A helmet and gloves that's what you need. That's what you have to be wearing at all times, at the minimum. And then you get into leathers and pads and stuff. But yeah, helmet, gotta have it. That's bottom line.
Safety is one of the main things we have to like be concerned about, because we're skating in an open road and there's cars coming up, motorcycles, trucks. So it's very important to stay in your lane, know what you're doing when you're going downhill. Try to be safe, don't crash anyone out, and stay on top of your game and your board so you'll be good by the end of the road.
And that could go just for the parks too. I mean, the streets are a little different these days. The kids don't want to wear helmets on the streets because it doesn't look cool. But I think if you're going to start skateboarding in the parks or you're going to hit any hills, you want to wear a helmet. Absolutely. And we do a lot to promote that. We have safety videos on our website, and we have little how-tos, how to get better, how to slide, how to brake, how to properly strap your helmet, make sure it's on right. Helmets save lives, kids, so wear them.
It's been a long ride. I've traveled a lot, met so many new places all around the world, Europe, South America, Canada, United States. I'm really thankful to have that experience, and met a lot of new friends. And it's cool because anywhere you go, you can just call up your friends and you have a place to crash in and just share the stoke for skateboarding and longboarding.
When I'm skating, my favorite feeling is being maxed out, for sure, and no pun intended. Knowing that you nail the line is the best feeling ever, and that you didn't have to slow down or break your tuck or do anything that isn't mashing it 100%. That's awesome.
I longboard because of the pure feeling of it's like pleasure, it's all the adrenaline rushing, and going down the hill is what I love doing, and I just keep doing it for the love, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain it. You just got to do it and you feel it.